In this video, I want to continue working with Alibre CAD to make this cylinder head. This is a really fun program to use. I've been enjoying this series, and hopefully you have too. I highly recommend it, and you can get this super cheap, really easily from Alibre CAD. It's a one-time purchase, owned forever, at a price that's, I think, very reasonable. So let's jump into this here. There's a few directions that I want to go, and I'm trying to figure out exactly what I'd like to do next, and I think that's going to be ports for freeze plugs next. So, and this should be quick and easy. Let's do a sketch here that's active, and I want to align this with the center of my combustion chamber, right? So we're going to project to sketch. We're going to go reference. We'll just choose this outer line for our combustion chamber reference, and then I can reference the center of that with a center line. Let's go with vertical. Right, so we're all vertical, and let's import that. Right, and it just seems to be the easiest to pull up these center points with construction lines. And then I can make that horizontal. That's almost like crosshairs or, a target or coordinates way of doing things. So we should be dead center in this face relative to the combustion chamber. And I don't know what standard freeze plug sizes are. Maybe half an inch is probably small. 0.75 inches, and we can give this a wall thickness of sorts. Maybe 75 thou. You know what? We could probably just integrate this in with the tangent point in that face and then plan on adding fillets later. And that makes a lot of sense, at least to me. Right there. Let's simply extrude that. All right, we're going to do an extrude to maybe 1/4 inch. Right, so there's one freeze plug port. Next, let's activate a sketch on that face, and all we have to do, we'll create a sketch figure and maintain it. And we'll go up to next, which will connect us into our coolant channel. So we're going to say extruded cut to next. And that hasn't failed me yet. So there's our freeze plug port. Let's do our patterns. A little linear pattern down here. In fact, I can choose this axis, which I like even better. We'll choose our extrude and our cut. And we'll go with 3.5, and that's looking good, right? So we'll edit the pattern and add a few more on. There's for freeze plugs. We'll do a mirror. I don't know why I always turn my view from mirror. I have to stay over here. We're going to choose a mirror, and just right there, we'll choose our mirror plane right here. Okay, so that should take care of freeze plugs, especially when we add fillets, because we do have a tangent point right there now. So it really won't make sense to exist in real life until we put some fillets on there. We need spark plugs. So why don't I grab this top plane here and activate a sketch on it. Now I can't remember or recall the exact spark plug dimension. For what I'm doing here, I don't think I need to. Let's go onto View and wireframe this so I can see the circle that I want to make. Going to the sketch will project our combustion chamber right there. Reference and maintain. Okay, there we go. Let's go to the top plane now. Make a circle. That seems to have jumped onto there. I want it here. And let's say, come on. Let's say that 1/2 inch is right for the spark plug diameter. We'll do an extrude cut. I'll just go with, 100 inches tool depth. Right, so we're going through all. Done. And change my draw style to make sure that it turned out the way that I want it to. Okay. I did. Let's delete that feature. I did a boss when I wanted to do a cut. So we're going to come over here, right? Through all. There we go. Okay. That's why I didn't have that through all feature. I was wondering why that didn't show up. So there's for our spark plug. That may be kind of large now that I look at it, but it also might not be. Who knows? Except for the people who do. Let's go with a linear pattern down this axis. We want to pattern this hole. And we want 6 spark plugs, so that's perfect. Bam, there's our spark plug hole. Now we want to have, this orientation means that we're going to have to go through the valve cover to hold the spark plugs. So we're going to need a sealing interface between this and the valve cover. So I'm going to go to my cylinder center plane, one of the first planes that I made. Looks like it's this one. There it is, yep. It's highlighted, so we're going to create a sketch on that. I want to, if it will let me, do a precise section view on the combustion chamber center so I can see a cutaway of that as I sketch. That works. So we'll close that. That just makes it easier to see. So now we're normal in that view. Let's go with a 2D sketch. There we go. So Control 2 for my orientation. We'll add in a line. In fact, I don't think it will let me import stuff in a section view. SolidWorks certainly doesn't. But wow, I can create a reference on that edge. That's amazing. Do you know how many times I've tried to do that in SolidWorks? I better delete it and maintain it. But that is awesome. I tried so hard to do that in SolidWorks for so long on a section view, and I've never been able to do it. It looks like I don't have the ability to maintain that edge for good reason, right? So what I can do instead is we'll go to Relations and we're just going to lock that in place. Oh, will it let me lock it? Let's Control Z. Maybe this one point I can lock that. Yep, and this point I can lock that, so we can get kind of a, okay, yeah, that works. Get kind of a manual locking there. This looks like the midpoint, and that'll work for me. So I'm going to come up here and be a little bit tall. And I think a piston is probably a good model for this, right? So I would intend on putting like maybe O-rings on there or something. and in that way you can seal off your spark plug tube. Alright, so there's spark plugs, and all I have to do is dimension this now. .25. Let's go with equal, except I'm a little bit overlapped here. There we go. I'm going to say equal amongst a few things, right? Equal between here and here, equal between these. I can even say equal here and here. Yeah, let's go with a vertical constraint. And I just have to make 2 of these vertical, and the equal relation should take care of everything else. So we're 2.25 up. Let's say I want this to be 0.1, 0.1 maybe, and 0.075. So for O-rings, if you're interested in trying to get something right for O-rings, there's a beautiful guide from Parker that you can size out your grooves for O-rings. It's a design principle that whenever you can do a male groove for O-rings, it's way better than a female groove for O-rings. It's more reliable, it's a better fit, and it's better on manufacturing them. So keep that in mind. I actually needed a dimension there. Let's go 0.25. It's kind of a thick spark plug tube. I bet we could get away with 0.125 maybe, especially if you say that you intend that to be more of an insert or something. Let's go with a revolve, and I'll draw a line just to make sure I have an axis here. So we're going to deactivate. And we'll do a revolve here. You know, I have these habits from SolidWorks in doing a real axis, or I'm sorry, a construction line for an axis. And it looks like you need to have real lines because construction lines don't show up. But I didn't even need that because I could reference this circular face here. Alright, so we're generating the revolve, and it looks like we've had kind of a nice feature there. That'll work really good. Our camshafts will just be careful not to interfere with our camshafts when we do that. We can also make those, we can take these grooves away and assume that there's an internal feature with male O-rings that are going to seal against this face too, so that'd be a way to save space. But I think this is pretty good. So we're going to go to section view and turn that off. And I don't see anything that really scares me too bad. So let's go with patterning that. Linear pattern. We're going to choose this revolve. We've got a direction, say down this axis, and we want 6 features in the other direction. There we have it. So another thing down, what else do we want to do? I think I want to relocate these holes. When I look more at gasket grooves, I'm losing my confidence that it's ever going to work the way that I've done it. So this is one of the things that's beautiful about being parametric. You can do stuff like that. I'm going to just find these by rolling my tree back. There we go. All right, so there's our extrude. So let's edit the sketch behind this. I think this is the 3rd time I've edited this, but it's much more logical to have the gasket groove come around the outside. So I could just get rid of this entirely. I don't think that throws anything off. I know thou shalt not delete is a very important aspect of, of CAD though. And I'm going to go back to a strategy that I had before, but just a little bit different. Right, so I've got this, we'll convert this to reference figures, and this time I'm going to add concentric, but not have it run through. There we go, but not have it run through here. We'll go with a coincident here. Try that one more time. Here and here. Is there? Oh, there's a tangent constraint. I didn't even notice that. Let's get rid of that tangent. Now, and I just used the delete key for that. Now we can add in a coincident. All right. I can import my circle. No, I don't want to do that. Maybe I do. Nah, let's not. Will this call out? Yep, we can call it the midpoint of the arc against its center because they're concentric. And I guess I have to if I want them to be evenly spaced around this. So I'm going to call this arc as a reference figure with maintain geometry. And I can add in a coincident relation so that the center of these circles is always kind of centered around the hole, right? And we can hold these kind of tight so that nothing gets in the way of anything else. Oh, except for that. So I'm going to go normal to my sketch plane again. I'm going to change my draw style to wireframe. And there I can kind of see the parameters that I need to stay within. And yeah, you know what? This is just not convenient. So I'm going to put the bolt right there for the cylinder head. And on this one, we're just going to convert to a reference figure because there's no way that I can have that and still make the size of the bolt head that I need there and everything else. So let's add in. Let's go back to a 2D sketch. It looks like I might be running an autosave here. There we go. I'll go with my dimension here. 1.185. Oh, that was wrong. 1.85, let's say, right? And then give this a dimension. Right, for real design intent, you may want to dimension it a little bit more realistically than I am here. Let's go with create a reference figure. I don't want that face. One of these, right? We're going to maintain. And now I can go with equal and my design intent update, of course. Alright, so we should be fully defined. I want to make sure that this is, yep, that's reference. So let's deactivate. And there's the bolt hole. That leaves a pretty thin area for a gasket. Yeah, I think I will. Let's edit this again. I'm going to shorten that. What if I took off 80 thou? A little better, but I'm getting, oh, that's pretty good. I'm going to go with that. Okay. I'm going to drag this down to update. And I can change my draw style. Let's go with my favorite. So there we have some updates, and I want to go for sketching on this plane, And I might as well make my gasket groove now. I'm going to project a reference. Let's go with that vertex. And I'm going to put my groove right on the edge. Could probably just do an O-ring gasket. Would probably make sense. Make my line there, horizontal. Give that a dimension, say 0.175. And that's going to come pretty close to that hole, but I think for our design that might actually work. I'm going to go with a rectangle now. Oh, of course, I have to deactivate my sketch. Alright, so my sketch is good there. I'm going to activate another sketch on this plane. And where's the sketch that I just made? There it is, right there. So I'm going to say model, actually 2D sketch, line. Guess I have to import part of my sketch here. In fact, why don't I do this? I'm going to create a sketch figure of this entire face. I'm going to make it all for reference, maintained. Right, and then I can hold Shift and select all of these elements. Kind of an easy way to do that. That just crossed my mind. And then right click and convert to regular figures. Perfect. So if I've got a groove that's going all the way around, I can run a sweep. Change the view back. So let's go with a subtractive sweep. We're going to grab come on. I have to have that window closed, of course, to move my history tree. Subtractive sweep. We want sketch 40 to move along the path of sketch 41. And there we have a nice gasket groove. Except it looks like these areas are strange because that came in but that did not. So I'm going to take a look at my sketch. And it looks like that was not included for some reason, so I'm going to grab this. And we're going to create a sketch figure from this edge. Or this edge, either way, maintain association. And now let's update that. Much better. Alright, so we have a nice outer gasket groove for the valve cover. That turned out pretty well, and of course the head of the bolt that would go in here is going to go over the valve cover, so I don't have to worry about it overlapping. I want to work on the some more coolant channels details, so why don't I go to my section view and activate my first precise section view here. And now let's sketch on the inside face back here. So I'm going to activate my 2D sketch, and it's a little, it's a little bit interesting what I'm trying to do here. So there's my back face. Let's just project that as a maintained reference. You might hear my happy baby who just woke up from a nap in the background. And I'm going to do a line. Let's go with horizontal here. I want to go with coincident here. Maybe I had the wrong thing selected. Coincident. That should not create an overconstrained or inconsistent sketch. So highlight coincident and then try it this way. There we go. We're going to go with a horizontal. Maybe it'd be better if I wireframe this here. You know what? And I'm trying to add the wrong relation too. I'm going to go back to my sketch and choose tangent, not horizontal, of course. All right. Let's go normal to my view here. Vertical from here to here. And arc. I'm going to go equal. Actually, it might be better if I just said horizontal since we have a vertical there, right? And I can trace my line from here to here. You can see what I'm doing. I'm joining these two channels. And we're going to do an arc here to here. We're going to say horizontal again. Line. I'm going to go with vertical. Right, and then let's see if I can mirror this without drawing a line. Will it highlight? It won't highlight that section, so let's add a center line in. And from here, mirror. All right. Let's deactivate, and I want to alter my view to shaded with edges. Let's go to extruded cut, and we're going to give this a depth of maybe 0.125. All right. Let's sketch here. I want to go back to wireframe so I can see things better. And there we go. Let's make a large coolant outlet. The cross-sectional flow area is a bit of a bottleneck here, so it may be worth addressing. Which would be pretty easy to do, right? You can do like a revolved cut around the top of this combustion chamber to get a better cross-sectional flow area if you'd like. That might be for some other time for me. I'm going to go to the back end here and let's add in a circle. Looks like I have to go to this face to get a maintained reference figure. Oh boy, I realize I just cut. Yeah, That's not good. I just made a cut that I shouldn't have made. So what I've done, if you don't see what I just noticed, I cut out this little bottom piece so fluid and oil would go in there and coolant would come out and it would be a disaster. So let's address that. I'm going to come down here and edit my sketch to my extrusion, which I don't think this should be a big deal. Let's get rid of this line for now, and this line. I'm going to redraw up to here. And apparently I'm missing my horizontal, so we'll re-add that in. What in the blaze is happening? Alright, I'm going to change this to be reference, and then we don't lose any of our past relations, right? Let's go with an arc and add that in there, right? So that's even more of a bottleneck now, right? So that's more of a reason to work around our cylinder head. Let's give this a dimension now. 0.45 is probably good. We'll make this a construction line as well. Oh, but I've, of course, clicked the wrong thing, and I should know better. So we're going to convert to a reference figure. We're going to add in a horizontal. Right, so we should have a driving line there. And now here. Deactivate. So there we have it. Right, there's our face and no more cutting. Again, that's part of the beauty of being parametric, is go back and make changes. Now let's go to my next sketch. And we're going to come around here, import into sketch. We got an autosave going on here. There we go. We're going to create a reference. Maintain association. Let's go with tangent, right? And we can fully define the circle, hopefully. Yep, without any need of dimensions. Deactivate. We're going to say extruded cut to next. Alright, so there's our link to the coolant channels in the cylinder head. I don't think I need a section view anymore. Actually, one more thing before I get rid of that. We could use an engine coolant sensor, and it might be great if it's in the cylinder head right when it comes hot out of the engine. So we'll create a sketch here. And yeah, you know, I don't need a section view, but just in case I did, I can do a projection on this edge. But it's not letting me maintain association to my identity. So I'll just get rid of that, make sure that this box is checked, and I should be able to get rid of this face. I'll select it and then clear it. Alright, there we go. Let's go with this view again and choose a horizontal. Right, so this would be just like a smaller tap for our coolant sensor. Let's go with something like 2.5, and you can have like a 1/4 inch probe going in. That's kind of slick. And let's go with something like 2 inches. Well, we want something more than that, right? 2.5, 2.75 maybe. Yeah, and have some kind of sensor there. So we're going to exit the sketch, and then I can add in an extruded cut. And I want to be aligned with some of the deeper sections of the cylinder head, and that way, you can use however long of a probing sensor that you want to. So we're going to simply say to next. Doesn't seem like it went, so I'm going to edit my extrusion. Let's go with a reverse direction to next. Much better. So on this face, I want to add a feature. So I'm in the sketching on this face, and I want to project, say, my sketch 44. I'm going to maintain and create a sketch figure. Right, so there I've got my figure, and I can add a, oh, looks like that whole face came in though. So I'll just go through a nice delete ritual here. Alright, so everything's deleted. I want to add in another circle. We're going to create a little boss. And I can add probably a tangent. Hopefully this line will let me select it. There we are, right? So we've got a fully defined sketch. I'm going to deactivate, and let's do an extrude. Again, that's for something like a hose to clamp onto. So we'll do a boss extrude. And I want to go in the reverse direction, of course. And maybe it's 1 inch too far. Seems okay. A little long, but that'd be good for a hose to get on. I'm going to actually go to my view and go back to shaded with visible edges. And I've got a little error on my extrude, so must not be that. Maybe I'll leave this footage in here because sometimes troubleshooting can be beneficial to see how someone else does it, almost like a second set of eyes here. I want to come in here, and I think I see the problem. Let's delete. Nope, that's a reference. Just going to try to delete some figures around here. So it's saying I'm deleting something that has a constraint on it, but maybe that's important. Or is it this line? Well, no, because that would have... oh, yes. I had imported something there, so let me hit Control Z and just re-import and see if I can... There we go. Let's delete that. So that line segment made it appear like an open or overlapping edge. I think that was a user error. Let's deactivate the sketch, and now our extrusion should work. Great. So I believe I can totally undo my section view now. And we can look inside the cylinder head. That is a long... Here, that's what space mice are for, right? That is a long little corridor of coolant. Okay. I want to make something here. We're going to activate a 2D sketch, and let's make one of those little fancy... Actually, to begin with, let's project this as a sketch figure, will maintain association. I'm going to make an arc. Make one of those handy little mounting plates that you see sometimes. Yeah, add some more lines here. And let's go with an arc. This looks like a mess right now. Let's go with a tangent. There we go. Okay, let's hit equal. Oh, but I've got coincident. I hit coincident when I meant to hit equal. There we go. There. Already exists. That's encouraging. And yep, I think we're good there. Now we want equal here. Oh, that updated funny. Hopefully if I make those a bit more similar, then it will update predictably. That's better. That angle is kind of cool. Let's leave that. So I'm going to lock that angle down here. 25 degrees should be all right. Let's go with the dimension here. I'm going to reduce that just a bit to maybe 0.175. And then out here, let's do maybe a bit bigger. 0.45 looks good. Let's go with the dimension here, right, from bolt to bolt. 1.5? No. That just messed things up. So let's go with 1.65. That seems fine. I want to add in a coincident to make sure that this line stays in the middle here, right? And then 2 circles that can act kind of as bolt holes. Go with equal, equal, and a diameter of 0.125, right? We'll put some 1/8 inch bolts in there, and we're fully constrained. So we'll do an extrude 0.5 maybe. Yeah, that's kind of probably not a regular flange that you'd see, but hey, that's kind of cool. All right. Maybe I'll taper that down to 1/4 inch. Looks a little bit more realistic that way, but alright, so we've done some coolant channel stuff. Let's hit a weight reduction. We can do that up front. We probably don't need all of this wall thickness up here. So I'm just going to create some rectangles. Let's make these Now we'll add in some vertical constraints. And horizontal. That's not how I wanted to do it, just between these two. Better. From here, we can do a symmetric constraint just to keep it simple. From here to this point, and I can choose my line of symmetry. Come on. There we go. And again, line of symmetry there. Alright, that should, make us completely symmetric. Let's go with 0.25. .125 and 0.125, right? Thinner ribs. Let's do an extrude. Negative 0.125 perhaps. All right, so we have a nice little material reduction there with some ribs. All right. I'm kind of ignoring the idea of bearings that need to hold the camshaft in right now. And I think I'm at a spot where I'm going to be good to add some fillets. This is, well, yeah, let's add some fillets. So this is going to be kind of a larger step. When I add my fillets, because we save all these fillets to the end, I think the first thing that I want to add is 0.125, right? 1/8 inch fillet. And let's do that on all of our intakes. And that still stayed at 0.5, so 0.125. And let's add some more edges here. I'll fast forward this so you don't have to sit through. It's tedious to watch someone, especially if you're not modeling, watching this. While filleting, I just discovered, I can't believe I haven't noticed this until now, that my bolt holes are too wide. So that could be a real problem, but fortunately we're running a parametric software that makes it easy to make these sorts of adjustments. I'm going to roll back my history tree quite a ways. And I'm going to find exactly where I've added these holes in. Looks like I've gotten quite lucky here. I think this next extrusion, there it is. So these are the features that I have to adjust. Extrusion and extrusion. I'm going to change this out to make this sketch off-center. So I'm going to go to my sketch 19 and edit this. Well, not sketch 19 actually. There we go. Sketch 17, I think, is what I want. Nope. Alright, it's sketch 16, right? And on this, I just want to get rid of a few relations. Horizontal is something that I no longer want. I just want to be able to move this here. There we go. Probably have to move it from the center here. That's better. So I still have the same vertical distance. I want to offset this maybe about right there. And let's go with here to here and make this something like 0.4 inches. Let's deactivate this. And now, when I head down to some of my next features, there we go. I can adjust this. All right, so now we're kind of sharing the width of this wall, so I want to get rid of this hole, get normal to my sketch plane, and move this about here. So we just have one bolt instead of two that's going to be holding our valve cover down in this design. May not be feasible in real life, not sure. We're going to go from here, maintain source and reference. Can easily add in a vertical. We'll give this a diameter again. 1/8 inch looks good. And then what height can be kind of arbitrary. That should be good, right? So we're going to deactivate that. So now if I use my linear patterns, see that that's looking a little bit better. We are kind of right on that limit though. So if I address sketch 16, I could probably move that down just a hair. Let's rebuild the full cylinder head. And now we're much clearer. I'm going to continue adding my fillets by editing fillet 80. Okay, so I got all of the fillets on the intakes covered. Now I'm going to fillet all of the faces on these, as well as I'm going to fillet around the freeze plug ports. Alright, it looks like I can't fillet my freeze plug ports because it's not like in that tangent relation, which, to be fair, I did create zero thickness geometry there. So let's edit that. So I've got a sketch here. Looks like I'll get rid of this. We'll add in a coincident relation. And then I'm going to dimension this ever so slightly larger than it already is. 1.01 perhaps. And that gives us the geometry that we need to go into that face enough that it would like a fillet. I'm going to rebuild everything. Alright, so I just added fillets on everything, and I think Alibre has done a splendid job at making this cylinder head. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Congratulations on making it through all of this, and I hope to see you again. Please consider getting Alibre. It is, I think, the best platform for the money, and again, it is so accessible, whereas all these other platforms that I'm struggling to get onto are so inaccessible. So big thanks to Alibre for this cylinder head. It was done on a license that was for hobbyists. Very, very inexpensive, one time and keep it for life payment. So consider this if you are looking for an affordable platform, and I should have a link in the description. Thanks again for watching. I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.